Hey guys, how's it going? CryptoVince here. I just wanted to make a quick tutorial on how to use logarithmic scale and a linear scale. Just a quick explanation, as I promised yesterday, to make a little video so you guys understand better what I'm talking about, because this can be a little bit tricky for some of you that are not really familiar with TA. But when it comes to TradingView, there are two different setup. One is the logarithmic scale and one is the linear scale that we can change from the right bottom. If I put linear scale, this is what we have. This is Bitcoin, of course. I guess everyone this chart. And this is linear scale, and that's how it shows. 2016, we can see nothing here, right? Like I have to go and zoom in order to see something. Even in 2014, look how small it is compared to the spike that we have to 20k, right? But this is not really precise to our eye, because if I want to select a precise percentage, I want to get 300%, and I want to get the 300% here. Actually, yeah, 300%, 362 here. We are the same percentage here, right? 362, 362. But look how this one looks way bigger than this one. So this is the big difference when it comes to linear scale and logarithmic scale. And look, when I click log scale, what happens? Click auto. Of course, the rectangles now, there are the same height, okay? 360, I mean, just overall, okay? They're the same height. So in this case, logarithmic scale helps me to not distort the chart. That's the main thing, because I can trace a percentage here, which is 121, and I can trace another 121 percentage here, and the height of my rectangle will always be the same. Okay, so it can be a better way to see things when price become very high. Okay, when I go back to my linear scale, of course things change so much that so why this happens, what's the thing behind this? Well, if we go check the definitions of linear and logarithmic scale, this is a nice definition I found. And on a linear scale, a change between two values, so what it means by that, a change between two values is perceived by the difference. So if I take, like, say 3000 in linear scale, this is linear scale, so I take, let's say, 4000 to 8000, okay, that's 100%, right? Big, oh, here, actually, you know what, I'm gonna just trace some horizontal lines to make it even easier to understand. I'm gonna take 3k, then I'm gonna double it, then I do 6k, then I will double it, we'll go to 12k, and if I double 12k, I will go 24, right? So in linear scale, those levels, so I just double them. So if I double, every level should be 100% increase, right? Not higher than that. Oh, sorry, something percent, and from here I will have 100%, right? So as you guys can see, the chart get distorted because why this happened? Because of this picture here, this definition that I show you. So the linear scale is a change between two values is perceived on basis of difference between the values. So the difference that this is talking about is the difference, is a subtraction. I don't know how to say the word. 6,000 minus 3. So 6,000 minus 3,000, it's 3, right? So let's say, let's identify this like 3. And what's the difference between 11 and 6? It's 5, okay? And then the difference between 24 and 12, right? It's 12, right? Okay. So this is why the space that you see here are way bigger, okay? Because the linear scale, by going with the picture here, is perceived on the basis that between the difference of the value, okay? While the logarithmic scale is not the difference between the values, but it's a ratio. So in this example, in the linear scale, if you have 1, 2, it would be perceived as the same as 4 to 5, because 2 minus 1 is 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. So in this case, that's how linear scale is seen. But when we come, we go to logarithmic scale. Logarithmic scale is a ratio. So 1 to 2 will be perceived as 4 to 8 as a ratio. So 1 to 2 as a ratio of 1 2, and 4 8 as a ratio of 1 2. So in that case, we will see the chart way different. So if I switch this linear scale to logarithmic scale, and I click auto, you're gonna see the rectangles are perfectly the same, and even the distance between every level. See the difference between 3 to 6, 6 to 12, and 12 to 24 is exactly the same. And look at the numbers, how they change, okay? I think I have another picture here. Let me see if I can find here. The linear price scale is plotted on the side of the chart. There is an equal distance between the prices. So the linear scale is talking about, there is an equal space between the value, and you see here 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's perfect divided. When I go to logarithmic scale, the prices are in log scale, so they're not evenly spaced. As we can see here, a logarithmic price scale is plotted so that the prices in the scale are not positioned equidistantly. So we will have not evenly spaced, and that's a big difference. Okay. Now, what other big difference there are when it comes to logarithmic scale and linear scale? Well, let's see if I have another picture. So when we see the overall chart and we trace two axes, x and y, this is what happens on the scale. The linear scale, when we chart on linear scale, the trend, if it's a straight trend in logarithmic scale, that trend will become a parabola, so a parabolic trend. Or, of course, opposite, if there is a parabolic trend in linear scale, in the logarithmic scale, it will show it more as a straight trend line, okay? And this is what we see here too. So this is logarithmic scale. Again, we have the same distances, the same 100, 100, 100, they look the same. When we move to linear scale, everything changes. So even though this is 100% and this is 100%, this look way higher than this, right? But it's not. So now let me remove everything here. So this is what logarithmic scale looks like. Logarithmic scale, the trend line, it's a straight line. What I mean by that, this is the trend line that we can trace. Of course, here it changes trend, but doesn't mean it's going parabolic. This is just change. It's changing trend. Okay, this is the other trend of Bitcoin. But it doesn't mean this part went parabolic, because the parabola that we see is actually this one. Okay, the parabolic trend that it's hard, of course, to trace. It's pretty much this one, something like that. Okay, it start to get parabolic. Now, to make you understand this way better, what I do, it's pretty cool. What I did, just figure this out, because if I switch from logarithmic scale to linear scale, my straight trend line won't bend. So what I did, I traced a curved line that follows the same trend line, like that, and I cancel the other one there. Okay, so now this is pretty straight, right? Uh, Now we don't want to make it like super precise. It's just an example. If this is a straight line and I want to switch to linear scale, look what happens. It becomes parabolic trend, right? Straight, parabola, straight and parabola. So this is a big concern for me. Why? Because most of traders want to trace trend lines on a linear scale, straight trend lines, and I don't think it's their right to do it, because what we should do, we should, to be honest, trace a parabola. But parabolic trend, of course, they're very hard to trace. But let's see if I can make another example. If I have this resistance on Bitcoin, right? This is a nice trend line. I connect the first two highs and the third one too. And that's what I'm looking at. And this, I think, is pretty legit to use it. Now, if I want to make, of course, a linear scale, this trend line, this resistance, however you want to call it, will change drastically, right? As you can see, this was above resistance. Now this is below resistance, right? So it's a very big difference. For me, on logarithmic scale, Bitcoin broke here by connecting those three highs here, right? Three. While with linear scale, it broke right here, and we just connected one, two, yeah, still three highs, but we didn't took care of those one, right? So what's right, what's not? Well, for me, logarithmic scale is more precise, because what I said above, what I said before, sorry. And we can do the same exact example. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna trace a curved line here. Follows this one. I remove blue line. So let's say this is our trend line. When we reach to linear scale, this is the trend we should look for. So that's the parabolic trend we want to check. Okay, so in the big picture, this is what we see: parabolic trends in linear scale and straight trend when it comes to logarithmic scale. Okay, now these, everyone is wondering, what should we trace, what chart should we use when we trace altcoins? Well, altcoins, they're similar to Bitcoin, except the fact that Bitcoin reaches very high values in price, but not altcoins. So altcoins might make no difference when we chart, especially if we go look closely, right? If we go take just a certain kind of part of the trend, or we go, let's say, a 4-hour chart, and I want to see this part, and if I click a logarithmic scale and linear scale, it's not gonna change too much. You guys see that? This change when we see at the overall picture, okay? The overall picture, and especially when we trace resistance lines and support. Resistance, they change way more than support lines. Why? Because resistance, of course, are made from high price, right? We want to trace a resistance from the top and then a resistance from the support from the bottom. This one will change way worse because the high price in here, right? uh, let's see. Okay, actually I can make a better example with altcoins, but with Bitcoin this is what we see, right? So this was a perfect example of how to see parabolic trend or straight trend lines. So in my opinion, it's way better to use logarithmic scale. And let's go check even Ethereum BTC, because this is the chart that everyone is looking at lately. See, check 1 day chart. This is the linear scale. Look the huge difference that we have between linear scale and logarithmic scale. This is a massive difference, and this is the same thing that I've seen before. This is a straight trend line. If I want to make, of course, when I make a linear scale, of course the trend line will totally change. But if I want to make a curve and I want to make it straight like the trend line, and that, look what happens, it becomes a parabolic trend. So this is the thing I noticed, and for me it makes a huge difference. So what to chart, what not, you have to be careful. I suggest to switch chart every time you want to look at some altcoin. So if you want to see, for example, LTC, BTC, they have, oh, see, they have a huge history. So every time a coin has a huge history, of course, it will change dramatically when it comes to logarithmic and linear scale, right? Let's see, LTC, BTC, linear scale. Oh, actually, LTC doesn't change too much. There is some change. I mean, if you put auto, there will be a huge change. Here we go. Okay, so that's a big change for LTC. But if we want to pick some coins, let's say Link, say Link. The Link doesn't really change too much. See that? There are for sure few changes that we have to consider, but they're not really drastic like Bitcoin or Ethereum. The request network doesn't change too much. I think ICX, there's some things in it. Neo, let's see, Neo is the linear scale and logarithmic scale. There is a big difference here. So this is straight line that we have here, straight trend line or trend line is more a channel. And when we go to linear scale, well, you guys can see we cannot do this anymore. So what this would be good to trace at with this parabolic trend, let's remove this, then I want to make another one here, follow this line, let's say. Okay, and now I go to linear scale, and this is what the trend really looks like. You guys can see that the resistance line got distorted way more than the support, because the ratio between 27 and 191 is way bigger than the difference, because we are on a linear scale. So the difference between the two values is way higher than this difference here at the support. Okay, I go to logarithmic scale. The ratio of 27 to 191 is kind of similar to this ratio. That's why the chart looks looks parallel, so it's making a perfect channel right there. Okay, in this case, oh, In this case, this is a perfect bull flag, right? Of course, it's dumping, so we'll see what's gonna happen in this case. All right. Now, just to finish, I just wanted to show you an altcoin that I was analyzing. Let's put you here. This is mod. Mod is the same thing. Mod, for example, changes quite a bit. If I go to the weekly chart, see chart, remove. I put some values here. This is the logarithmic scale, and you guys see 100 and 100 look the same height, so that's pretty good. When I switch to linear scale, this 100 of course gets a little bit small, way smaller than this, and as you guys can see, the resistance and support change, but not too much the support, because this happens at the altcoins, right? In the altcoin market, the values are really small at the beginning, then they can get very high, and they can get distorted a lot. But look at, if I trace my resistance, right? If I trace my resistance, I connect 3 points here, right? Connect this high, this main high here, and almost the other one. Okay, so 3, so 1 2 3, I have 3 points, is good resistance, and the support I'm connecting just 1 and 2. This one not quite connected. Okay, if I switch to a linear scale, this is what happened. The support, this one touched the line pretty much, and this one is gone, like the resistance doesn't count anymore. And if I want to trace at the resistance, to be honest, I cannot really trace anything perfectly, right? It's very compromised at these levels. If I want to trace this, no. So what I want to show you here, well, in this case, we have here the same chart, logarithmic scale right there. I'm trying to make it like similar to this, and I have my all-time low support there. Now, if I want to trace the same exact resistance, but using my parabolic tool, of course, I'm not suggesting you to use parabolic tools to trace resistance. I'm just showing you what would happen. Okay, so this would be my resistance, and this would be my support right there, straight line. So if I change this to linear scale, boom, that would be my trend line, a parabolic trend line. So and this changes every time if you switch to linear scale. So I don't want to really trace a linear trend line, a straight trend line when it comes to linear scale. Okay, so that's my thing. Then the support line, yes, it changes a little bit, not quite, but you guys can see there is a parabolic curve in it, but it's just so small that you might not perceive it. Okay, and things change. So if I see a channel in an altcoin, I may see a falling wedge in another chart. Okay, so you have to be careful when it comes to chart with those two scale. Okay, well, I hope I explained this pretty simple. I don't want to add any more like hard things in it, because it might be already confusing for some of you, but practice, because practice makes it better. And if you have any question, please ask in the chat channel, CryptoVince Cafe. Okay, talk to you guys